Bali is one of Asia's most popular tourist destinations, but a rabies outbreak has authorities in crisis mode. More than 80 locals have died of the disease in the past 2 years, and the strain on the health system is immense. Despite launching a mass vaccination program for the hundreds of thousands of dogs on the island, officials are still struggling to keep a lid on the spread of the virus. Indonesia correspondent Matt Brown reports from Bali.
They call Bali the island of the gods. But beyond the picture postcard views, it's more like the island of the dogs. Between 400,000 and 500,000 dogs roam the island.
Dogs have always played such an important part in Balinese culture, not only to protect their family homes or their restaurants, their temples, their ancestors, and I think just culturally Balinese have always interacted with their dogs because they do play a very important part in Balinese society.
However, the dogs are now seen as a threat because in late 2008 the deadly rabies virus arrived on the island. So Janice, Girardi and teams from a local animal welfare group have been combing the backstreets, vaccinating the dogs. If left untreated, a bite leads to an agonising death, and between 100 and 200 people have already lost their lives.
It's heartbreaking, actually, because so many of the deaths have been to poor Balinese who didn't have the money even to get the transportation down to the city hospital. I think we've had more deaths of poor Balinese than anyone, and that is a huge concern.
The local government's initial response to the outbreak helped fuel the disaster. It failed to stock adequate supplies of the rabies vaccine for humans, and it was slow to back the mass vaccination of dogs. Instead, to the horror of animal welfare activists, it concentrated on a major cull, killing nearly 120,000 dogs.
Sometimes we should choose which one you want to save, the human or the animals. Which one you want?
The trouble is, the cull failed to contain the virus.
You have too many puppies coming into the population, too many wandering dogs. You kill the dogs, you get new dogs wandering in search of food supply, and they actually made the problem worse, I think.
Most Balinese didn't know about the danger posed by rabid dogs, and few could afford the vaccine once exposed.
We feel very sorry, we feel very sad because of that. Because we can't help them, we cannot save them from this infection.
The family of 18-year-old Made Putu from the village of Komang knew next to nothing of the virus when he was bitten a few months ago. Now his ageing parents are burying their only breadwinner.
They're shocked. They've lost their only child. They're shocked. Their souls are hurting. Their minds are troubled.
After Made's death, the villagers went out to kill as many dogs as they could, but that brought them little comfort.
It was very hard on the people here. They were shocked, scared, they lived in fear. They worried every day. They knew the disease could kill.
There's 5 dogs that I can see.
It's the kind of fear that, ironically, is undermining the dog vaccination program. Because sometimes the villagers kill dogs which have already been vaccinated, and that leaves their turf open for others who may instead be infected.
Oh, God, every day. Oh, my gosh, every hour. I get so frustrated. You go into a village and you work really, really hard to catch and vaccinate the dogs and educate the people, and then you hear they went in and they killed them, and it's just like, oh, my God.
On the other side of the ledger, Dog lovers often buy from roadside vendors, bringing unvaccinated puppies into a vaccinated zone. And that's not the only challenge to the vaccination program. The teams must reach around 70% of the dogs on the island. So far, they're less than half the way there. And even then, they won't be able to say mission accomplished. For this operation to be a success, the entire effort has to be repeated next year, and again the year after that. As of next year, the local government will be in charge of the whole project, and some officials want to return to the days of culling.
Can you imagine how many people we need? How many vaccine we need? How many time we need? I'm still in the idea, control it, control strict dog.
As awareness of rabies has built up in the community, so too has the load on Bali's health system. With more than 40 people a day seeking treatment for dog bites and licks, the number of vaccine shots has more than doubled this year.
Ouch, ouch, I said. I was in a daze. I could not stand the pain. 3 times that dog bit me. I was in such a daze I just couldn't think.
Around half of those who come in for testing prove to be infected with rabies. The lives of poor Balinese and the future of the tourism industry, the lifeblood of Bali's economy, are hanging in the balance.
If tourists die of rabies, that's a disaster for tourism. So we've got to get it under control quickly, not only for tourism, of course, but because to prevent any future deaths in Balinese.
Matt Brown reporting from Bali.